Coffee Chug here, and we are here with the first of our more advanced build challenges. So many of you who are coming to this video, you are signed up. Either you did the 100 Lego Element Quarantine Challenge, or you're getting ready for the May Challenge, in which we're going to have daily builds. But I promised for a lot of you, you wanted something more beyond just some quick little daily builds. So we're going to make it happen. We did one live stream a couple weeks back where we built a Lego sphere, which was really successful. And here we are trying a new method where we're going to give you the build guides ahead of time, the instructions. We've got this amazing master builder right here next to me that's going to just take us through this incredible build today. And we're going to give you everything you need to be successful. And what we're going to do then is the live stream itself is actually going to be a show and tell a week from now. And we'll get you all those details here in the end and links in the show notes. But we want the live stream to be you sharing your creation and your ideas. But what we want to do today is give you the foundation, the things that you need in order to be successful, in order to learn some new building skills, and to also bring in some other amazing experts into your world that you should be following and connecting with to expand your building techniques and ideas. And that's who I have here today. So before we get into the build, I want to explain this awesome gentleman that I have here on the call. This is Steve. And Steve, why don't we just start off? I'm going to let you just introduce yourself, what you do, all that good stuff, and then we'll just take it from there.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for inviting me along. Really excited to be part of the project. My name's Steve Guinness. I'm from the UK, and I've been a teacher for 18 years, but now I run my own little business, making Lego models and running workshops for kids and things like that. I actually won the UK version of Lego Masters a couple of years ago. I think you've had it in America recently. Well, the UK had the first ever Lego Masters, and I was lucky enough to win it. And then once I won the competition, I thought, hey, I could maybe do something with this Lego thing. So I gave up my teaching and I do it full time. So I'm absolutely nuts about Lego. I love creativity. So to come along and teach you guys how to make something is going to be really exciting.
Well, I don't think that you've given up teaching. It's just your classroom looks much different now, right? Like you don't have to worry about bells and homework assignments. Now you can actually teach people in their passion areas, and there's so much for us to learn, which is how we kind of connected. You know, I was decluttering my makerspace in my house. We're in this quarantine, we're in this lockdown, so I'm doing lots of things. I've had on the to-do list clear at the bottom to avoid, and one of those was to clean up my workshop. And when I did that, I came across this bin where I remember I had a workshop where I used to teach a lot of educators cardboard automata to learn just how we can create cool constructions with very basic low-tech materials. And so, you know, I had come across some of these builds here, which some of you can see here on the screen. Hopefully it doesn't cut out too much with my green screen. But this is a airplane made out of a toilet paper tube using some cardboard automata techniques. And, you know, we've had, you know, from one of my favorite cartoons of Gumball, just another simple one that kind of cranks. So from here, as I was planning like some other cool live stream builds, I was like, I should take these and I should make these out of Lego. Well, as I was doing my research, and I come along Steve's work, and almost at the exact same time, Steve had on his Instagram account these incredible Lego mechanism builds that are exactly what I was attempting to do, except for they were way better, they were way cooler, and the builds themselves make a lot more sense than what I was trying to do. I'm known for overcomplicating the simple things in time. So that's how Steve and I came together in terms of this collaboration. So I reached out to Steve, and I hope you guys understand how blessed we are to have him give up some of his time today, as well as in the show and tell, to help us. So that's what we're going to do today. Steve has graciously taken time to give us online instructions that will be in the link for you to check out how to build these builds. He's also then given us a guide of all the pieces we need, and you're going to follow along in his video. He's going to take us through some of these builds. So this is the incredible part. I get to be a student today. I get to be quiet. I don't have to run the show. You don't have to hear from me. A lot of you are tired of hearing from me. And we're going to let Steve just take us through the builds, his process, his techniques. And when we get done to the end, we're then going to explain to you the challenge that we have for you for the show and tell. So that's just where we are, kind of the elevator pitch of how Steve and I came into contact. I'm so lucky that he said yes to all this. And Steve, I'm going to now just pass the baton to you, let you take it away, guide us through this, and you know, I'll interject kind of where I need to, but let you be the man on the stage and let us have some fun here today.
Fantastic. Okay, well, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move my camera around and try and get it set up so that you can see what I'm building here. And I'm going to try and show you the actual model that we're building. So can you see that on the screen okay?
Yes.
So I've got 3 little automata models here, which I've linked together. And when I turn the mechanism, you can see I've got Emmett and Wildstyle and Benny the Spaceman playing in their own little band. So Benny's jumping up and down playing the drums, Wildstyle's doing a spin on the microphone, and Emmett is playing on the keyboard here. Now, I'm not going to show you how to build all the decoration at the top, because that's where your imagination comes in. But I'm going to show you how to make the actual mechanical parts inside, so that with that knowledge, you can then come up with your own ideas. All right, so this is the finished product, if you like. But we're going to go much simpler than that and just tell you how to make the basic unit. So let me tilt this right down so that we can see what we're doing. Is that going to be close enough in for you? I might just move it a little bit nearer. Okay, so here we go. We start with an 8x8 stud base plate. Okay, it really doesn't matter about color on this, and you may find you can even vary the pieces as well. But if you've got the pieces, that's fantastic. You can follow along. So I'm going to take some pieces and start to build them along now. So I've got a little corner brick there. I've got a 1x4 brick, another little corner brick, and a 1x6 brick. So you can see I'm starting to build up the wall on just 3 sides. There's nothing at the front because there's going to be a window there so that we can see our mechanism.
Yeah, so Steve, can I ask you a question here before you get to the next step? So as people are building, I think something that's important too, and I would love your insights with this as well. Is so say some people are following along and say they don't have that little L bracket type piece. I think something that's important is you're going to have to kind of use the pieces in your collection to kind of makeshift this. So even though Steve has been awesome enough to give us exact pieces for this video, I think don't panic if you're like, I don't have that piece. Use your creative, intuition to, get as close as you can. There's no like right or wrong answer. So I just want to interject that because I know some people's Lego collections we have a wide variety. So I just wanted to put that in there, and I didn't know if you had any other thoughts to that as well before you move on to the next step.
I mean, that's absolutely correct. As long as you've got a square with 3 sides building up the walls, it doesn't matter whether you've used small blocks or big blocks. The only reason I've used the blocks that I have is because as I build, and you'll see when I build the second layer, I try to make sure that there's no bricks that don't overlap. So just like when you're building a wall of a house, you always have your bricks overlapping a bit so that they're nice and strong. So you don't want 2 joins right on top of each other. But as long as your building is nice and strong, like this one's going to be, then yeah, absolutely use some slightly different pieces. So I've got that wall going 2 bricks tall at the moment, still just 3 sides of the square. Okay, so we're moving on to the next layer now. I'm going to start putting some pieces in, and I'm going to leave a couple of gaps which I'll now explain. Now, this brick here, right, is a Lego Technic brick, and it's got 3 holes in it. This is really important because that's where the axle for our mechanism is going to go. Okay, now if you haven't got one with 3 holes, you might have one just with 1 hole. That's fine, you could use that. Okay, the only reason I'm using one with 3 holes is so at the end, when I've got 3 boxes, I can link them all together. But if you're only planning on making 1, then you can just use a little 1x2 brick with 1 single hole in. Okay, so again, don't panic if you haven't got exactly the pieces. So I've got 2 of the bricks with holes in, put them at the side. Okay, so if you're following along, we've got 3 courses of bricks now, and we'll go on to the next layer. So this layer is actually a repeat of one of the lower layers. Okay, so we're going to go 4 bricks tall, and then I'm going to put the final layer on now. Okay, so that is the walls complete. We've got our 3-sided box with a nice big opening at the front and with our holes directly in the middle. Okay, so eventually that's going to have a window piece at the front. All right, I might actually just leave that window piece off for now so that you can see exactly what's going to go on, just in case it gets in the way of your view a little bit. But the next important piece is this one. Okay, if I take that out of the way so that you can see it, it's another Technic piece. It's a plate which is 8 studs long and 2 studs wide, and it's got lots of holes in the middle. Okay, it's quite an important piece, which is going to go across the top in the middle. So you've got 3 studs gap either side of it, and again that's quite important because it's going to hold part of our mechanism. All right, so I'm going to put that in place. The next piece is a little circle with a hole in. Now I'm going to put that on the top in the middle, and that actually helps to make our mechanism slide up and down really nicely. Now it's quite a new piece, that, so if you haven't got it, don't worry, the whole thing will work without it, but it will just make it a little bit smoother if you do happen to have that piece.
Yeah, I know. I had to dig deep to find. I had a couple bins of like just 30 pounds of Legos, and I had to dig deep to find one of these. I was like, "Whew, thank the Lord."
Okay, so here I've just brought into the screen a number of the Technic pieces, which is actually going to bring our mechanism to life. Okay, so we've got a Technic axle here, and then we've got some other pieces which I'll put together slowly to show you. This little piece I'm using as a handle. Really, again, if you've got different pieces, you could use a different kind of thing for a handle. You could even have some sort of gear on the end and just turn the gear. But I've got a little handle piece, so I'm going to use it. It's even got a little connector on the end, so that as I turn it, it's going to spin round nicely. So that will slide through the middle, and you can see that's what I'm going to be able to turn. Okay, you know, use whatever pieces you've got. If you haven't got that exact piece.
Steve, so that rod you have, is that piece a 10? Is that 10
Yeah,
long? Okay.
that's right. So Lego Technic pieces, when you have instructions, they'll have a number by them. This is a 10 because it's the equivalent of 10 studs long. So, for example, this wall is 8 studs long. If I put it next to the wall, you can see it sticks out by another 2 studs. It hasn't actually got studs on it, but that's the unit of measurement that they use when they're talking about Lego Technic. Okay, now when we're putting the actual mechanism together, so let me see how I can hold these so you can see them. We've got these 2 little yellow Technic, I think they're called Technic bushes. They're really, really small. I'm going to slide one onto the axle. It's a little bit fiddly, this. Once one's on the axle, I'm then going to put the Technic cam in position, and I'll show you how that works when it's on. And I'm then going to slide in the other little Technic bush. I'm going to get that.
And then for that cam, Steve, you're putting that you're going through the middle hole of the cam, right?
Yes, I'm going through the middle hole on the cam. There's a number of different positions, and you could actually experiment putting it in different positions and seeing what that does. So now I've moved the yellow Technic bushes to the edge so that my whole mechanism is not going to slide around too much. And I'm going to slide the cam right into the middle. Okay, so it's as central as I can get it. I've got a little stopper which I can put on the end just to neaten it up. And so that is the axle on our mechanism. And you can see the cam sort of wobbles as you turn it, and that's what's going to make our mechanism go up and down. Okay, now the parts I've got left, let me show you in my hand. So I've got a pulley wheel, a much shorter Technic axle, and a couple of 1x2 plates. Now, the 1x2 plates actually fit perfectly into the back of the pulley wheel. Okay, so I'm going to clip them into the back of the wheel. They're made really nicely so they fit in there. Okay, it's quite an unusual thing to do that. I don't think that will be done in any Lego sets that I've seen, but in my mechanism it works really well because I'm going to use my axle, put it through the top here, and then connect it to my pulley wheel. And what that does, it stops the wheel from being able to turn. So as I now move my handle, in fact, if I put a minifigure on the top, you'll be able to see what it's doing a little bit more if I move my camera. So as I turn it, you can see my minifigure is now jumping up and down. If I hadn't put those two little plates on, he might be spinning around as well. I don't want him to do that at the moment. I just want him to be jumping up and down. Okay, so we have our first mechanism working. How did you get on with yours? Awesome. Oh, you got Spider-Man. Cool.
Spider-Man.
I like it. Now, to finish the box, you can put the window on the front, and you can get some other plates. I've got a load of 2x3 plates, so you could finish the whole of the top of the box and make it solid if you wanted to, like that. All right. You could even add some tiles to the front and the back and give it a border, and that will just increase the strength. Or you could use any colors or anything you want to increase the strength of that. On my actual thing, if you notice here, I put like colored transparent pieces there, so it looks a bit like a dance floor. But you know, you can do whatever you want to do on yours. So you can see my two mechanisms. Here's my simple one with him jumping up and down. On my finished one, that mechanism was used with Emmett playing the keyboard, so it looks like he's moving his hands up and down to play his keyboard. Okay, so that is the basic unit. That's one mechanism. What I'm going to do now is just show you how to alter that mechanism to produce two other types of movement. Okay, so we've got a basic up and down. By changing the cam inside, we could produce a different kind of movement. So I'm just going to take off the borders again so I can get inside. Remember, you can make yours look however you want. Take those borders off so I can get to it. Use a brick separator here. You get these in a lot of Lego sets, but some people don't know what they are, but they're really useful for getting your Lego pieces apart.
They are a
Bit of my wall.
lifesaver.
Bit of my wall has come apart there, but there we go. Got the basic box apart. So, I'm going to take some of this mechanism out, but I'm not going to take the actual box apart yet. So, I'm back to this stage. I've just got my handle on. I've got one Technic bush on, but this time instead of a cam, I'm going to put this funny little thing in. All right. It's got four little lobes which stick out, I can't really remember the actual name of it, all right? But if we stick it on, in the same way that we put the pair cam on, instead of our minifigure just jumping up and down once for every turn of the handle, hopefully it's going to jump up and down a lot quicker. We'll turn the handle at the same speed, but it will produce a much quicker motion. Okay, and instead of having our pulley wheel, an easier way of doing it is to use a disc like this, a Technic disc. Okay, again, if you haven't got one, you could connect it to anything that's flat, like a dish or a radar dish or something like that. Right, and you'll see now, I'm just turning the handle at the same speed, but we've got a much quicker motion. All right, and that's what I used on mine for Benny playing the drums, because he's really jumping up and down a lot quicker. All right, I'll show you on the finished thing again. You can see Benny playing the drums there, and he's jumping up and down really quickly, as if he's got his drumsticks and he's having a good play of his drum kit. Okay, so we've got two mechanisms sorted. The final one, again, we're only changing the mechanism. We're not changing the actual box here. And I'm not going to introduce too many new parts to this one. It's a part which you've already seen me use. I've got two pulley wheels this time. All right, and the pulley wheels often come with a belt because they can be used as actual wheels. So I'm going to click the rubber belt in position. All right, I'm going to put one on the bottom. I'm going to slide it into position, and this time I'm going to leave it, instead of having it in the middle, I'm going to leave it over to one side, and then on the top I'm going to put the other pulley wheel, and hopefully if I put my minifigure back on the top again, you can see now instead of going up and down, he's spinning round and round really fast, a bit like your cardboard one right at the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
All right, so just by changing a couple of the Technic parts, we've got three different forms of motion from the same basic construction. All right, so there's going to be instructions available for you to download. Don't worry if you haven't got the exact bricks, as we said, you can make it up. You're just going to try and use those basic ideas to try and come up with some really cool creations of your own. Okay, so I think it's back over to you to take it from there.
Yeah. So this is just phenomenal. I hope as you're watching here, you're getting a sense of how cool we can start to create some movement patterns using mechanisms, using some just basic Technic pieces that, regardless if you've ever used Technic or maybe you've never used them before or never considered yourself to have movement within your builds, this is a great opportunity to learn some of those basic skills and concepts. And so as you're looking at Steve's kind of big design here of the awesome rock band that he's created, this is the challenge for you. We want you to create your own scene. It could be a single cell, just one of these. It could be a combination of several of these, like you see here on the screen. The challenge for you is to make it your own. We want to see your designs. What we want to see here in this challenge here is not just can you copy. Now, we know that that's important, and we have to sometimes copy the masters. In this case, Steve sharing some of his genius with us. But taking that and then applying it, that's where the real learning comes into play. And that's really what we're after here with you. We've given you the instructions. We've given you this. Steve's been courteous enough to walk us through the builds so you can understand how the mechanics work. But we want you to take that to the next step. You can use some of these. Maybe your challenge is to think about new creative designs. You've seen his rock band, so maybe this is your first rodeo with the mechanisms and you just want to stick to what he shared. That's fine. Think about the creative builds. Think about those other elements. Maybe some of you have done a lot of Technic work, so you want to maybe challenge yourself to come up with some different mechanisms beyond the three that Steve has shown with us today. So what we're looking for here is hopefully this is a source of inspiration that gets you excited about possibilities. I know what I'm going to be working on. And so as I've been working here with Steve and I've been learning myself, is you guys saw my minifig. I've got Spider-Man, and I'm doing something with Spider-Man for my show and tell. Not just Spider-Man. There might be a few other little bells and whistles along the way. And so this is your challenge. You have roughly about a week in the terms of this recording when it goes live to create your own. And here's what we're going to do. In the link, you're going to see a form for a show and tell. And we would love to see your builds. This is your chance to share with the world your awesome creativity and problem solving. It's an opportunity to share this. Steve's going to come back. He's gracious enough to join us again. Maybe you get stuck and just have some questions. So this is an opportunity for us when we go to do this live stream, is just to connect, bring some builders together of all ages, our levels of building of all ages and levels, and just have some fun with this. And so this is the challenge for you to take what he shared with you with the pieces you have, build your own mechanisms, your own scenes, your own creative, get those creative juices flowing, and come back together and have a celebration of our learning. Because I think sometimes that part gets lost. We build, and we're nervous about what we've created, and we've got to feel good about what we do. This has been great. I can't wait to see what you guys are going to come up with. I've seen lots of you build stuff with just a 100 Lego element pieces already in the previous month. So the sky is truly the limit with this. So I'm super jazzed about this. Steve, any other thoughts or ideas or thoughts of inspiration?
I think if you're at home and you've been watching this and you're thinking, oh wow, I love those mechanisms, I want to find out a little bit more. On my website, I've got a number of different tutorials which actually take you through 7 different mechanisms which you can use. So if you think, oh, those 3 are cool, but I want to know some more, have a quick look at my website. I'm sure the links will be available for you. And there's 7 different mechanisms that I taught you through. There's instructions you can download, so you can take it as far as you want. There's some which are a little bit more complicated. I started you off with the really simple ones, but if you want to know more, there's information there for you.
We'll have all that link for you. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you check the video notes. You'll see links to everything below. If you're already part of the Quarantine Lego Build Challenge, you're going to get all those links automatically through your email, through the Facebook page. And if you're catching this on my blog, Coffee for the Brain, you'll have everything there as well. So you'll have those opportunities as well as all the stuff that Steve has provided from his website and everything else. So as you're participating, it's another phenomenal resource, not just for the mechanism build, but all the other things that he's willing to share and build, and just take a look at his work. And it's so inspiring, as we continue to build collectively together, try to build some community during these times of isolation, but we can still have fun. We can still challenge our brain. We can do it in fun and engaging ways. So I'm super excited to see where this takes us. So with that, we're going to wrap up this video here. And we're going to then just be sitting idle for a week here, waiting to see what you create. And we can't wait to connect with you guys here in another week or so to see what it is you have developed. So, Steve, thank you for taking time for this video. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be a good spark for a lot of people. And I know you and I are going to be excited to see what people come up with here a week from now.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what people come up with. Don't worry about sticking exactly to the instructions. Use the principles, use your imagination, and come up with something cool.